Hello, welcome to the video. Today we're gonna take a look at the best mythical Pokemon to invest your rare XL candy in for the Open Master League. This is going to be Zarude here. There are some candidates as well that you could argue would be very decent to use some XL candy, rare XL candy onto it as well. But Zarude, in my opinion, is clearly the best because also it kinda is the only Pokemon that is mythical and has like a kinda unique role. If you think about it, like there are some other mythical Pokemon that you could invest into as well. For example, Meloetta, which I guess, yeah, is kind of unique in itself as well, especially with the typing. But I feel like it is just very neutral against everything. There's like nothing that you can crazy hard wall with it other than like Giratina, but Giratina is a pretty rare Pokemon in the current meta. And then you're going to have Marshadow. Marshadow is very similar to Annihilate, like very similar. It's still a bit better than Annihilate, don't get me wrong, but there is not a huge difference, especially as Annihilate has the better charge move in Shadow Ball compared to Cross Combat for the meta most likely. Yeah, kinda, it is not a clear win there even for Marshadow. And otherwise, you don't really have a lot of them. You have Caldeo, which has Poison Jab sadly as a fast move, which kinda hinders it a little bit. If it would have Double Kick, it would be way better. You have Mew, which has like any kind of fast and charge move, but like the stats kinda let it down. And then you have Genesect, and like Genesect is actually a Pokemon that was in raids anyway as well. So yeah, this is basically the best option for you if you want to run like a Pokemon PvP to use a rare XL candy. Anyway, let's move on to the second battle. We're going to have a team here with Landorus and the Mewtwo, two very fast charging Pokemon that hit quite hard. So we're going to see here the opponent going for the Stone Edge, going to be able to do quite a lot of damage. We're going to be able to get our own Stone Edge up. And with this, we can swap out straight away into a Mewtwo. Mewtwo wins Team Pita here. We have also our Shandu level 51 Mewtwo back again. And we're going to be able to either force a shield here now or knock them out. And we're actually going to take the knockout, which is huge. We're going to get out the Necrozma. Here it is kind of guessing game. Generally speaking, from the games that I played, I would mostly recommend you to just go straight for the Shadow Ball. Here we're going to be able to at least actually get the shield by going for the bait. We can let the move go through if we want to. We can go back into our Landorus, go for the Sensia Storm against the opponent, but not before we have to use shield here. Sensia Storm is not going to be enough to knock them out. It does around like 80% of the opponent's health, but we are not quite there yet. It's not going to be enough, but it's still going to be putting them into range where Vine Whip down would be possible. They use a shield anyway. I could use a shield here as well. And now it all depends on what they're going to have in the back. Do they have something weak against us in the back? It's going to be actually the Palkia. Palkia Origin Form gonna get hit by the Sensia Storm, and this is actually quite huge. Why? Because this Sensia Storm put them down to range 1 Power Whip, but also now because of the debuff, the Spatial Rend is something that we can easily take. We can overfarm by quite a bit, and we should be able to reach a Dark Pulse in time against the opponent's Necrozma, which hopefully is going to be enough. And this is kind of why this Pokemon also got a huge buff recently. With the Necrozma forms, you have another target for Zarude, and Zarude definitely enjoys this quite a bit. So yeah, for sure, in my opinion right now, the best Pokemon that you can run or like can use your XL candy on is going to be Zarude, just especially with the current meta shift. It is just such a good Pokemon. And then we have our Pokemon like the Zygarde. A lot of times, this Pokemon is running Crunch plus Earthquake, and both moves are going to be resisted by Zarude, and especially here after the debuff, it barely does any damage against us, and so we're going to have a great time here. What I have to say though, recently I see more and more often outrage on the Zygarde over Earthquake, which is an interesting choice, but I feel like it does make some sense in current meta, going to allow you to one-shot Palkia Origin Form after, I think, like 1 or 2 more Dragon Tails. But here, you're going to see already, they are running Earthquake, and we have now 100 energy. We're going to be able to knock them out, guaranteed here, can align ourselves, and this is just ginormous. In comes the Ho-Oh, which is a little bit annoying though, because Ho-Oh is going to have a lot of fun here, farming us all the way down. So we can swap out, we can go for the bait here. I'm gonna go for the Sensia Storm, guarantee getting the shield here, because there's no way they're going to get rid of all their energy just because they kind of want to not use a shield. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna see the Brave Bit coming through. They swap out into the Palkia. I can go into go for another Sensia Storm, and I might be even able to reach another one in time, which would allow us to definitely take those hits a little bit easier with our Mewtwo after the double debuff, and maybe make a little bit of a mistake here actually, because I don't think I really consider the double debuff here at this point. The opponent should do way less damage now anyway. Spatial Rend should be easily survived, and so I should let the move go through, which I don't, and I think this might be actually a little bit of a problem now. They can still go for an Awkward here, which is gonna be okay, but I don't know, maybe. We're gonna see here again the Ho coming in. If they can go for another charge move, this might be actually problematic, as we are going to now try to catch the move onto the Zarude, and it doesn't work out, and we don't have a shield, and I think maybe I had a chance of winning this battle if I didn't go for the shield against that Palkia, but it is what it is. We can move on to the next opponent. Very close battle nonetheless. Anyway, we're going to have a great lead here. We're going to see the swap out into the Everluck. We can still go for a Sensia Storm. Yes, they're doing double super effective damage with a fast move, but the Sensia Storm now going to allow us to put them into range for one Side Strike, but also going to make this matchup so much easier and better for the Mewtwo, allowing us to overfarm by quite a bit as well to get even more energy, and now we can get the knockout against the Everluck without any problem. Keeping alignment, keeping the health on my lead, having an option to also hit the Necrozma for a lot of damage with the Shadow Ball now, so like we are in a very solid spot. This is going to be able to add even the shield from the opponent, which is mad, as they are very likely have to use a shield here again as well, or they're going to get hit by the Shadow Ball now. This is very risky for the opponent. They let the move go through. We were debuffed at least there as well, so the opponent was able to survive it. Otherwise, I think we would have been able to knock them out from this range. But Dark Pulse now coming through against us. They can go for another one as well. I did not want to catch because a Sunstealer Strike is going to hurt quite a bit onto that Zarude. But they're actually running Outrage as well with it, which is quite a rare sight for sure. In comes the Palkia, and what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to catch the move, and I am going to be able to do that. I waited out one turn there with my with my Landorus there, and I was able to catch the move, barely doing any damage against us here, and we should be able to reach another move in time before they can even go for the Spatial Rend. They're very likely going to use a shield here. I don't know why I went for the Dark Pulse. I think both of them would have been fine anyway from this range, so it doesn't really matter. If you have a neutral scenario, always go for a Power Whip, by the way, because Power Whip is going to be able to do a little bit more damage. Sadly, we are barely missing out on getting to the next charge move there, so the opponent was able to farm me down. I'm forced to go for the Sensia Storm straight away. Now it's down if we can outspeed the opponent, and we can, so Landorus is going to be able to win us this battle. Moving on to the next opponent, we're going to have Landorus against the Broguiere here. That is going to be an interesting one. We're going to be able to go for some Stone Edges. We have basically positive coverage on all our Pokemon, but also all kind of matchups are a little bit tough because here Mudshot is going to be double resisted. We're going to have Mewtwo where the fast move is resisted, but luckily they're lagging out a little bit here, which I don't know what happened there, mostly just the game being the game. Good thing we have like World Championships in like a week. But yeah, we're going to be able to still go for the Shadow Ball against the opponent. We should be able to even outspeed them afterwards again as well, because they lagged a little bit. But they swap out into the Landorus, and I should be able to go for 2 Side Strikes before they can go for 1 charge move, which is going to be a great thing for us here, is the opponent is going to be forced to use a shield or let the move go through and just go down and see what they're going to decide to do. They're just going to sacrifice their Landorus. Now we have 0 energy on our Mewtwo, but we're still going to be able to even reach another Shadow Ball most likely against that Broguiere. But I decided to swap out here. At the end of the day, I don't actually really know why I did this here, but it is going to be fine. Aeroblast coming through, that is actually totally okay for me. Taking that hit, I can go back into my Mewtwo. I can overfarm by quite a bit here as the opponent swaps out into the Ho-Oh, which is a great matchup for us, because now Ho-Oh is going to be up against our Mewtwo, which is a neutral one, and not against our Zarude, where we're going to definitely lose quite a bit against that one. So here we're going to get even off another Side Strike, which is important, because now we are very likely going to be able to fully farm them down as well. They're going to go for the charge move. Happy days. We are very, very low anyway. And so what we can do now is we can go ahead and go for the farm down with a Zarude. We still have a shield, and a 1 or more Dark Pulse is all it takes, and we're going to see the opponent is going to forfeit anyway. A lot of good leads here today, and there must be someone who made a team about Say-Stop of Hery and Everluck with the lead of the Necrozma, because that is a team that I would have not really thought of either, because, I don't know, like it is, at least it's not really working out against my team here. It's definitely not working out at all. So, like, that's good for us at least. Yeah, I can underestimate, I think, the pacing of the opponent. I was kind of surprised that they already got another Icy Wind here. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, it did matter a little bit though, to be fair. Like, I would have rather got the move off a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. We were actually able to undercharge it as well, and we can still go for another Shadow Ball straight away afterwards, which is cool. And so the Necrozma is gonna get hit by the Shadow Ball, gonna do half of the health, and as we are going to have like 2 good ants against the opponent, we are going to be able to just swap out straight away into our Landorus, keep our Mewtwo for later on, get the attack drop onto that Palkia. I try my best to get to another move here, but the opponent is gonna go for the Awkward Tail first. That's fine, I can go for another Sensia Storm, force a shield from the opponent, and now they do barely any damage against my Zarude being double debuffed. Yes, of course, they can go for the full farm on here, they can go for a spatial rent, but honestly, it's doing what, maybe like 50% now. After like all the debuffs, it should be kind of fine for me. Let's see here. It's going to be a spatial rent. It is not even doing 50%. It's doing like 30% against me, which is kind of mad. And so we can go for Dark Pulse against the opponents, Necrozma, and I'm going to be even able to reach another move here in time as well. Going to be able to get the knockout against them for sure, being super effective and showcasing again how strong Zarude is in the current meta. Honestly, like this Pokemon is for sure worth it to get for the current meta, for sure there. I don't know how long it is going to last that we don't have another better Dark-type Pokemon available. I'm actually not too sure if there's any kind of Dark-type Pokemon currently missing that's legendary. We have like, I think from the newest generation, like I think like 4 different ones that are like locked behind ruins, but I'm not too sure if they're going to be good in like PvP, like at least not for the Master League. So yeah, going to be interesting there for sure, because any kind of Dark type right now has a lot of play in the current meta, because there's so many Pokemon that are weak to Dark typing. We have the Necrozma forms, both of them, we have the Mewtwo, we have Lugia, like a lot of Pokemon just really struggling against Dark types. But then of course we're also going to have the Fairy type Pokemon, where actually Zarude is kinda good against, which is interesting, because you still do a ton of damage with the grass typing. So Zarude is kind of unique in this kind of regard, because you're not going to get completely hardballed by anything in this current meta, other than I guess Ho-Oh. But for example, if you would run something like Yveltal really struggles against Pokemon like the Xerneas, like the Zacian. Like you don't really do any damage at all against them. I guess you still have now Oblivion Ring, which is a little bit better, but still like it is so clunky and don't do any like fast move pressure with it as well. So like I don't know, definitely very cool to have Zarude here right now. Here I'm definitely a little bit in a difficult spot here, I would say, in this battle. I just don't know what to shield. All moves from the opponent are barely doing any damage there, and so we are going to be in a spot where we have 2 shields left and barely any health on our Pokemon. And yeah, Zygarde is coming back in there. I try my best to get another Sancia Storm off, which we can, but we cannot get another one off. And so yeah, it's down to me going for the Power Whip here, hoping that there's something in the back that I can beat, which I can't, as the opponent decides to showcase their Palkia here. Maybe there was something I could have done if I just knew a little bit better what the opponent had in the back. We're going to have a Zygarde against this in the lead. That is going to be a fairly neutral one, more like towards the Zygarde. Like Zygarde wins, what, like 70+% of the current meta. Like it is kind of mad. Like Zygarde is definitely very overpowered. I kind of can't wait to play this Pokemon. It's going to take at least like a few more years though, because I am not even close to having the roots done. I always forgot about them. Like I always forget to go and just start those roots. I actually have quite a few good ones now around me, but I always forget about them. Like honestly, it's just not mine. Anyway, we're going to see the crunch coming through. We are not going to go down, but I kind of want to keep the energy on my Landorus, especially for cases like the Dialga here. Basically, back in the day, I was running Focus Blast Mewtwo on this kind of team idea where you have like Landorus in the lead and say so of Mewtwo, because you get out Dialga quite often. But I feel like nowadays having Shadow Ball definitely helps out a little bit more, because you have like those Pokemon that are weak to like ghost type moves anyway, like the Necrozmas, like the Lugias, but also you have way less Dialgas, I feel like. Like Dialga definitely kind of dipped down in terms of usage, and so having Focus Blast is not as important anymore as it was back in the day. Here we're going to be able to go for the Sancia Storm, trying to knock out the opponent's Dialga, which we are going to be able to do, and so we can swap out, and it's going to be the Mewtwo in the back, and it's going to be the Zygarde in the back, and we see again the potential of Zarude. Zarude is just going to be able to get off another Power Whip, fully found on the opponent. There's nothing I'm really worried about. Even an Outrage would survive. Let's see, we're going to use a shield here. This is going to be just the crunch though, which is a little bit silly, but if they don't run Focus Blast, we're going to be fine here. Let's see what they're going to do here. We're going to be able to go for another charge move. It's going to be the Dark Pulse. Do they use a shield or not? They decide to use a shield here, and we can even reach another one in time. So this is going to be a good game. Bye bye Mewtwo, and Zarude again showcasing what it can do. Final battle for today, we're going to have a very bad lead for us. But again, like this would be also a great matchup for Zarude. Like Kyogre is going to be a lovely matchup for Zarude. Here, what I'm deciding to do here is I'm going to try to underline the switch clock. This is kind of what I want to do, because if I'm going to be able to underline the switch clock, which we have now by around like 30 seconds, I might be able to lock in the Kyogre later on into our Zarude, which might be very good for us. Anyway, we're gonna be able to go for a Side Strike. Side Strike is gonna get a ton of damage onto the Zacian as well, and I can just use a shield here. I feel like using a shield again does make quite a lot of sense, because we are going to be able to now go ahead and go for another Side Strike, get most likely a shield from the opponent, or Let's see what the opponent gonna try to do exactly, and we can try to catch a wild charge actually onto our Landers, which is going to work out for us. And so we can go for the full farm down, and after the full farm down, I am going to be able to just go for that Stone Edge against the opponent's Kyogre, which would one-shot them anyway from that range, so we're gonna be in a very solid spot. In comes Kyogre. I could have maybe even went for the Sensius Dom, and Stone Edge guarantees the knockout. They decide to use a shield here, that's fine, because now it's time for Zarude to shine, as the opponent was locking themselves into this matchup. This is going to be lovely for us. We can take a Surf, we can get a ton of energy, and no matter what they have in the back, they have to deal with all the energy of our Zarude. Let's see what's going to be. It is going to be... well, let's find out. It is going to be another fairy type. It's going to be the Xerneas. And so we had 100 energy. We can go for 1 power whip here. This is going to be enough to get them quite low. Not going to get the knockout, but this is what I mean with like being kind of decent against fairy type Pokemon. We can't even go for another one. We're going to get them insanely low. We tried to catch the move. It did not work out, but we can go for another charge move, knock them out, and showcasing again. This team is quite amazing. Zarude is quite amazing, and even fairy type Pokemon don't be worried this dark type, which is kind of cool. And that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Definitely build your Zarude if you can, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.